Hello everybody, so welcome to this latest Pathlight Thrive Hive session, and we welcome back into the Hive for the third visit Marcus John Abraham. Welcome Marcus.
Thank you, Paul. Yeah, it's great to come back again.
Yeah, you're becoming part of the furniture. So today it's all going to be about Reiki, which I believe is one of your passions, Marcus.
It is, yeah. I love doing Reiki, and I've got involved with Reiki when I was 19, and yeah, been down a really powerful journey with it, and continue to. So yeah, Reiki is a passion of mine, and I wouldn't be where I am today without it. That's those things that you come across in your life where it was definitely a lifesaver for me anyway.
Cool. So yeah, perhaps we'll talk a bit more about what Reiki is and how it works as you understand it in a bit. But for those who haven't met you before, would you like to just give a brief introduction to yourself, what you do and your journey to getting to where you are today?
Okay, yeah. So aside from my kind of full-time social work job that I do, working with children and families at Manchester City Council, I work kind of part-time. I wouldn't call it a massive business, but from it being something that I've been really interested in, and then it has been a part-time business at times throughout my life. But since I've been doing the full-time thing, it's not been as much, but it is still something that I'm really passionate about. So I offer Reiki, hypnosis, NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming, and EFT, emotional freedom technique. So I use those 4 tools with people when they come, whether it be for anxiety, depression, confidence, weight loss, whatever kind of issue they're working with. I'll utilize those skills, as well as sometimes just general talking, to help them move forward from where they are in the direction to where they want to be. Like I said before, my journey started when I was 19 with Reiki. I'm suffering with anxiety and depression, and wanting to find a more natural way to find healing and peace, calm, and move forward from my life, and change behavior patterns, change mindset, and move on. Sometimes life circumstances can be difficult sometimes for people to move, and I think when you have a good tool or something that you can use, it can really help you move on. And that's what, when I go back to 19, that's what started with Reiki. And then I moved into, because I was really passionate about the mind and studying psychology, reading psychology books, I was interested in hypnosis, and I went for sessions to see how it worked, and then I was reading books. And then, the universe opens, and it opened an opportunity for me to learn it. So I started my hypnosis journey. And after training in it, it was just getting friends and people around, let me do this and let me do that. And it worked. And they had, good experiences. So I was like, you know what? I think when you help someone, when you're not even expecting it, it just kind of gives you, it gives you a buzz. It would give me a buzz when I would do like an NLP technique or some hypnosis with them, and something would change. It's like, whoa, this is powerful stuff. So then my journey just carried on with the NLP, and then I did my, the practitioner, and then the master practitioner, and just still using those skills kind of part-time while I was working in security. But it was also kind of a deep, what I call it, personal development for myself, because it really helped me to understand my own mind, how I would think, and if I wanted to achieve something, how I could do that, especially from the NLP side. And then also using the hypnosis just to, change my behaviors or responses in certain situations so I could keep moving forward. So it's always been about my own personal development and growth, and then in that, offering it to others as well. I think sometimes we have to, do the work on ourselves with the stuff we learn, and then we can offer it to someone else once we've had those experiences. And people would just like pop up, can you help with this, or can you help with that? I'm like, yeah, I can now. And then we'll do some work. So that's kind of the story of how, I got into kind of this holistic approach of what I would call coaching with different, methods of therapy.
That's lovely. It's a really inspiring tale, Marcus, because as you say, you wanted to to find a natural and holistic route rather than medications, I presume, to address your own issues. And from that, you've got really interested, you've done lots of research and training, and it does feel like a really well-rounded, holistic process that you offer to everyone. Having experienced it yourself, you got that reward for yourself personally, and now you're enjoying giving it to others.
Yes, definitely, and still getting the reward as well, because I still use, as you know yourself, with your work, I always say, as long as we're alive, we've got stuff to work on. You're still moving forward. There's still things we want to achieve, things to do. Little things pop up, from the past, or what we might call, those shadowy places in our psyche. It's like, oh, right, I didn't know you were there. Hey, you're back. Do a bit of work with that. So yeah, I'm always constantly using these two. Not as much as I was, in the early stages, but it becomes a lifestyle, doesn't it, when you're working with personal development, psychology, these type of tools, and it just helps you keep moving forward in your life.
Absolutely, and it feels to me a bit like myself. I think you're a lifelong learner and a wounded healer. And it's a case of when the genie's out of the bottle, it's not going back in. It's like, oh, there's a bit more genie in there. Let's see what else we can pull out.
That's it. Yeah, there was a stage. It was about 2013, and like with my current Reiki teacher at the time, and still is now, but she doesn't teach me Reiki anymore. It's more deep personal development stuff. But you have a moment where you just like, you've in the personal development spiritual, you've gone past the point of no return, and you can't go back. And that was about 2013. It was like, in one way, it was good because I knew that I'd come quite far, but then in another way, it was like, I can never go back to the person I used to be and the ways I used to act and things like that, and behaviours. So it is a long life journey. Like you say, when the genie's out or the Pandora's box is open, that's it. You've got to keep working.
That's it. Yeah, and I'm guessing you wouldn't want to go back to your old days.
Definitely not. Yeah, and sometimes the ego might have its own little whinge now and again. Oh, a bit of nostalgic or something about the past. But then when I actually give it attention and think, would I like to go? No, I would not. I wouldn't trade where I am for any kind of experience in the past or life situation. It's like, no, I just wouldn't want to go back. And that's even within, life circumstances. Even though we do personal development work and move forward, things can still be difficult. Sometimes even more difficult than the past. But it's like, nah, I wouldn't want to go back there ever. Yeah, it's about moving forward as consciously as I can.
Yeah. I've had a couple of people approach me recently saying, I know that I've got stuff to work on, but I don't really want to open up Pandora's box because it's too painful. And I suppose that will limit the amount of progress that person can do. But, maybe if they start treading that path, then they might actually build up the resilience to say, actually, let's open it up and have a peek inside.
Yeah, and I can totally relate to that, because I started reading, these books, personal development books, when I was like, 18, 19, 20, and I wasn't ready to do the work. But I thought I was, and it was more, interest and looking into things and really wanting to understand things from like an intellectual or ego level, and really just wanting to know stuff. But I weren't ready mentally, emotionally to do it. And I did have quite a few Reiki teachers and other personal development people, but it weren't until I met my teacher in 2007 that's when the real, not that work didn't start before then, it did, but that's when I was really ready to start the process. So I think wherever we start, when we get to that point, when we're ready, they say, don't they, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. It was definitely like that for me.
Yeah, great stuff. Yes. So hello, Karen, welcome. Can you hear us okay, Karen?
I can actually.
Good stuff. Okay.
Sorry I'm late joining you. The password was quite long. I ended up copying and pasting.
Okay, no problem, Karen. So we're just having a bit of a chat with Marcus, and then we're going to do a holistic, a Reiki demo. So if you wouldn't mind just muting your microphone for now, and if you've got any questions or comments later on or feedback on the Reiki session, you can unmute. That's great. Thank you. So, Marcus, just one more question before you tell us specifically about Reiki. I wonder, when a client comes to you and you've got all these different tools in your toolbox, you've got NLP, you've got hypnotherapy, you've got Reiki, you've got EFT, how do you choose which of those tools to use?
It's a weird one. My passion is always Reiki, and that's kind of the foundation of everything I do, but not everyone's open to it. So I'll always offer it. And people usually come because they've been told that I do hypnosis or I can help them with anxiety or depression, and they don't usually know that I do Reiki. So I'll go with what if they've said, can I come and have hypnosis or this? Then I'll say, yeah, we'll talk about that, and then I will offer Reiki. But just depending on where they're at, where they are, what issue they're kind of struggling with, I'll usually start with the emotional freedom technique, because people are usually coming in with some surface level stuff, surface level emotion, anxiety or concern. And with the EFT, you can kind of tap that out and bring it down to a comfortable level where then they're actually ready to have a conversation about what's going on deeper than that. And then I'll kind of plan out, depending on what their goal is and what result they want, where they want to get to, what I would do with them if they're going to become a client. So usually it would be starting off with the emotional freedom technique, and then I would teach them Reiki level 1. But just depending on where they are, sometimes someone will want to come for coaching and they'll want to learn the Reiki level 1 as well as doing EFT or hypnosis, at the side of those sessions. Sometimes someone might be, let's say, in a more severe or depressed or anxious state where the full Reiki level 1 course is not really for them. However, I would do some emotional freedom technique with them with hypnosis, but I would teach them how to do Reiki on themselves and just teach them the self-treatment at that point. So they're still being attuned to the energy and they can still use it on themselves, but it's not like they're doing the full course at that time, but it makes it more beneficial. So I've always found that I want to teach people tools that they can use where they are, regardless of whether it be, a Reiki level 1 course, Reiki level 2, or, masters. I kind of make it bespoke for them where they are at the time.
Right, great stuff. So whatever suits the client really and you kind of work intuitively.
Yeah, and sometimes I might think, I know this would be better, but they're like, well, they'll say, oh no, I don't want to do that, I want to do this. So they're the one leading the session. Well, not leading the session, but they're the one asking for what they want. So it's like, right, okay, we'll leave that and we'll do this. And they still get, a good benefit with that. Like, I've offered, when clients have come, I've said, this is what we're doing. So, well, I'll leave the Reiki for now, but I'll do EFT or hypnosis. So then I'll do that with them. And because I am a little bit pushy and I know how powerful Reiki is, I will still offer it, later on, say, if you are open to it later, or if you want to try mini treatment, it's up to you. Then I'll just leave that with them. And I think that just comes because I am so passionate about it and I know how powerful it can be. That's why I do that. But not everyone takes it, and that's absolutely fine. And I say, oh, okay, we'll just crack on with that, making it work for them.
Yeah. So the client's got to be open to it, and for you, it's an invitation. Shall we try some of this, rather than you forcing it on them? And I'm thinking back to the EFT session that you did on the Hive. Again, people have to buy into it, don't they? They have to be open to it. Otherwise, it's not going to work. Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah. Would you say that's the same with Reiki as well? If someone's really cynical, can they still feel the benefits or not?
I'll tell you a quick story of, I did some mini treatment. It was actually in Chadwick Park in the garden centre some years ago, and they had a fair day thing on, and I went doing some mini treatment. And I will say that most people will experience and feel the Reiki energy. If they sit down in the chair, they allow me to put my hands on them, they're going to feel the energy. But like you say, some people can be massively skeptical, regardless of whether they've had an experience of it or not. And for me, it's about direct experience. So if you're saying, I don't believe in this, that, or the other, but you've not had any direct experience which kind of backs up that belief, and I don't even want to say belief, I want to say knowing, because that's when you truly had an experience of something, you can say, I know that, rather than just believing it or not. But so I did this treatment with this guy, mini treatment, and I watched him as I was doing it, and he went into a deeply relaxed, different place. But even when he came out of it after 10 minutes, as he was coming out and he opened his eyes, he was still in that deeply relaxed, you know, kind of Reiki energy place. And then within a minute or so, he's kind of, let's say his personality came back in. He was like, oh, it was because of this and it was because of that. And, you know, giving these excuses why he was feeling relaxed and calm, and because he'd let go. And when we let go, whether it be meditation, yoga, or sitting doing Reiki, you almost let go of your personality and you expand out. So he might not have been used to that. So as soon as he's kind of come back in and he's like realised, whoa, no. And then he was given, because it's not part of his belief system framework, because, you know, Reiki could be seen as being a bit far out, and, you know, people putting hands on you and energy coming in, that can be weird. So I think some people can. So for him, it was like, oh no, it was this and this. And he got up and he was like, thanks anyway. And he was off. But, you know, I know what I observed. And then I've had other people who have said, no, it's not for me, it's a lot of bullshit. It's like, right, okay, that's what it is for you. That's your truth. Whether they've had an experience or not, but, you know, I don't care. For me, I know that it works for me anyway. If people are open to it, you know, they can all be open to experiencing it to work for them. And I don't know how that will work for them. I just know that, you know, they'll have their experience with it, and that's beyond my control. That's the Reiki in their body will do what it needs to do.
Great. Yeah, brilliant. Thanks for that. So I suppose you've kind of given a bit of a flavour there, Marcus, of what Reiki is, but can you kind of explain for those who don't know what it is, how it works? How can you put it together in a simple way?
So basically, Reiki, Rei stands for universal and Ki stands for life force energy. So in different traditions around the world, we have a different name for the same life force energy. It's within me, it's within you. Everything that's alive has life force in it. In China, they call it Qi. So you've probably heard of Tai Chi or Qigong. They work with the life force energy. There they call it Qi. In Japan, they call it Ki, and that's where Reiki was founded. In India, they call it prana, which is the breath where they use with yoga. They call that prana. In Egypt, they call it Ka. So in the West, we call it the Christ energy. So different traditions have a different name for the same life force energy. When someone's been attuned to this universal life force energy, we can channel it in, it comes into the crown, into the heart, and out through the hands, and then the practitioner places the hands on the person, different positions on the body, and then this universal life force energy comes in through the practitioner, or even if it's someone who's only learned, you know, Reiki level 1, but they're not a practitioner, it doesn't matter, comes in through them into the person. And the way it works is, because everything in the universe is energy, it all vibrates at a different frequency. So like, if you sat on a chair now, you know, or anything physical in front of you, you can touch it, you can grab hold of it, because within that material form, kind of the particles and the way they're moving at the quantum level, it's very, very fast, but it's very, very solid. That's why we can touch it and grab hold of it. As you move a little bit faster and faster, like you'll hear the sound of my voice or a nice piece of music, you know, you can walk into a room and the music playing and it's really, really bad, and it's like, that's not my vibe, I need to get out of here. Or you walk into another room and it is your vibe and you want to go and you want to dance and you just want to get on it. Now, you can't grab hold of whatever that is. Now, it's not as physical as the table you can touch, but it's something. It's just at a faster vibration. The music's at a faster vibration, whether you like it or whether you don't. Like, if you walk down the street, again, like on a nice summer's day like today, blue sky, you can feel the sun, you can feel it on your face, it lifts us up, makes us feel better. You can't grab hold of that. It's a faster vibration again. So with Reiki or universal life force energy, it's at such fast vibration of energy is that when it comes into our system, it begins to push out denser, slower vibrational energies, because everything in the universe is energy, even our physical bodies. So these denser vibrational energies can be anything from, like, you know, physical aches and pains, worry, stress, anxiety, depression, colds, flus, viruses. Everything is an energetic form. It's kind of base structure. So you might have, you know, let's say at the end of a long day's work, and it's like you've got that kind of weight on the shoulders, and it's like, oh, I feel exhausted, feel tired. That kind of energetic feeling state, it feels like it's like an energy, compared to when you're feeling up, you know, you can skip down the street and you're full of energy. We'll even use words like, oh, I feel down today. So we're using language that describes how we feel, and that down, it's almost like a pulling down energetic feeling, which we could call, you know, feeling low, feeling depressed. You know, there's many different feelings. Or we might say, we might be really stressed, and people will even use language like, oh, I'm just up to here with it all, I've had enough. And we'll even put our hands into kind of the mental area of our kind of being, and it's like, can't cope with this. So And that has an energetic form, usually kind of amped up and forceful and pressured. So these different kind of energetic states, when they're not healthy or good for us, especially for long periods of time, are very dense. Like even like colds, flus, viruses, they're very dense in the body. So what Reiki does, and I do have to stress that, Reiki isn't a cure for any like, really serious illnesses and stuff like that. However, it can support the body to heal itself with other things, and in and of itself, it can help. So through bringing that universal energy in, because it's at such fast vibration of energy, when it begins to push out those denser, slower vibrational energies, and what we can do is we begin to heal them physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And what the Reiki energy does, because it's at such vibrational fast frequency, it begins to show us what we need to work on, and things begin to pop up either in your mind or circumstances or in your life. So then it's showing you what we need to work on. It's not like it will come in and just do all the work for us. It will make us feel calm, it will make us feel relaxed and calm, but we could be participating in certain let's say situations in our life that are contributing to where we are. So if we're unhealthy eating, if we're unhealthy relationships, and the Reiki will show us more and more, you need to make a decision here, you need to make a decision there, and it will just keep coming up. And once we do that, stuff shifts, and we quickly move on to another stage. So that's kind of the flow of how the Reiki works. For me, it's always like when someone's been attuned to it and they're ready to use it, it's almost like shining a light within your own consciousness, physically, mentally, emotionally, going, right, where you start shining this light in, and it's kind of building up the energy within your system, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And then we can start to see what, really who we are and what's going on, and start working with it, with the Reiki energy, by setting our intention for what we want to work on and what we want to heal within that, within wherever we are. And then we begin to move forward then. But Reiki is, it is a journey, and there is, 3 different levels from Reiki, 1st degree, 2nd degree, and masters. And then, there is stuff beyond that as well. Well, that's kind of the flow of how it works, just to give people an understanding of the energy. And then in a moment, I can talk about kind of the concept of distant healing, and then we could go into demonstration if that's all right for you.
Yeah, great stuff. So yeah, thanks for that. It's really interesting, and this concept that everything is energy, from the trees, the sun, grass, all of the animals, energy flowing through us. And one thing you said there, Marcus, which I was interested in, about if we've got something wrong in our life, if we're eating unhealthily, or there's an unhealthy relationship, or something is out of balance, the Reiki will show us that we need to make that change. And how does that actually manifest? Is that through thoughts? Is it through feelings, intuition? How does it actually work?
So I would say, depending on the reason why someone comes into Reiki. Let's say they feel a bit depressed, feel a bit down, anxious, but they've got issues at home, either with the partner or maybe parents, or some relationship stuff that's going on that might be contributing to that state of depression. So then what the Reiki does, as they start building themselves up, because they could be either codependent or participating in such a way that the way they're operating is also influencing their own state. So what the Reiki will do, as they begin to bring the energy in, it'll just make them more aware of how they operate in certain situations. It could be like getting their buttons pressed all the time by a certain family member or friend. And then through practicing the Reiki, they'll see it, and it's like, right, I know I would normally react like this in this situation. I'm not going to do it. And it's weird. It's weird how it happens. Once someone's been practicing every day for a few weeks, when they come back, they'll say, it's like this happened, and I'd normally react like this, but I didn't for some reason. And I know it's the energy that's supporting them in that, and obviously their awareness and consciousness and their intention. But another way, it might be like, you've got an intention about something you want to do. It could be, you're going for this job, and someone's feeling not as confident. They've been doing Reiki because they want to kind of show all the skills and everything when they go to the interview. And they might be in a queue, and someone will say something in the queue, but it sounds like it's exactly for them. Or you might be watching something on the TV, something comes on the news, or an advert, but the message in the advert's really for you. It's weird how the universe can kind of synchronistically conspire to support you in our you know, in our experiences in life.
Yeah, things just happen, don't they? And I think when we're on the path, we've set our intentions, and whether it's Reiki or something like regular meditation, chanting, that type of stuff, it can all change the way our brains are wired and also change our energetic direction. And yeah, I think it's about recognizing that there's an issue and then taking positive action towards it. And it sounds like the Reiki is the supportive energy. That'd be right.
Yeah, definitely. Because it does, you know, like you've said, you know, with Reiki, it's not going to do all the work for us, but it can support us in that. So, you know, someone just coming to turn up to be attuned to Reiki level 1, and, you know, they want to move forward with their lives, wherever they are, they might not have loads of issues, they might just be open to spirituality and want to try something new. It's going to support them, you know, in the direction they already want to go, and through setting their intent and, like you say, taking action, that energy will help them, and it will come in and, you know, help them move forward. You know, that's what I've always found. And, you know, when people come back the week after or the weeks after and they say, oh, you know, I was doing it every day, and then this happened and this happened, and to them they're a bit shocked and it's a bit weird, but it's like, what it's for me, we're already connected to what we call Reiki, you know, universal life force energy. We're already connected to it anyway. It's just that in our modern civilized lives, as we've evolved from where we were to where we are now, we've lost that disconnection with our own nature. And I would say, you know, the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, in its infinite wisdom, you know, founded Reiki as a way for people to kind of connect back with that part of themselves. So through connecting with that, like you say, you do become more open to more possibility, and, you know, support, I would say, you know, of the universe, whatever you want to call it, to help us move forward.
Great. So going back to that example in Chaddy Park, you said you put your hands on the man.
Yeah.
So would you say generally when you're practicing Reiki yourself for somebody else, when you're giving them Reiki, is it always hands-on or sometimes is it hands-off?
Generally, yeah, I always practice hands-on Reiki, unless the person has an issue with me putting my hands on them and they don't want to, then that's fine, I won't. Or if they have, say, like a burn or a broken arm or somewhere where they don't want me to touch because it's tender or so, and they're just like, nah, don't touch it there, I'll put my hand over. And, you know, there are different schools of thought in some, and I can only give you my view or opinion. In some schools, they don't touch and they'll have the hands over. Well, that's not how it was originally taught by Dr. Yusui in Japan. You know, Reiki is a hands-on healing, and, you know, through touch. You know, just when you think about a little child that falls over, what does the mother or father do? They get it, they rub the touch. Or, you know, it's, you know, someone's really ill or they're upset, what do? You know, we hold the hand. So we've all got this kind of, let's say, healing ability within us, or we'll just call it love. And touch is very powerful, whether it be touching someone's hand or giving them a hug. So, you know, my view is to do hands-on, because it comes right, we're bringing it right into the physical body, physically, mentally, emotionally. Other schools of thought, you know, they do it over, and that's fine for them because it still does work that way. It's just not, you know, my way of doing it.
Yeah, okay. So when you are laying your hands on to one of your clients, what do you actually feel? Can you describe that?
For me, I just feel a sense of the energy flowing through my hands. So it might be like a tingling thing in my palms and my fingers, or it might be a heat, a warmth. Sometimes it's even a cold sensation. Just depends on the person, what they need, because as soon as I place my hands on the person, the energy will start to flow. Just from intention and their intention, it will start to flow, and then the energy starts to work. Their body kind of draws the energy through you for what they need, and then I just feel those and use it. And sometimes it can be very light. I can almost feel like nothing, and then afterwards they'll say, oh, I could feel this and this and this and this. So it's, yeah, but generally it's usually either a tingling, a sensation of flowing of energy, heat or cold. Not much cold, it's only very now and again you feel the cold, but mostly warm or heat.
Okay. And when you're putting your hands on different areas of the body, does that give you some kind of sense of where a blockage or an issue might be?
Yeah, you will, at the beginning of a Reiki treatment, what we do, especially when they come in, they have a full body Reiki treatment on the bed, we do what we call a body scan. And that's not touching the body, that's actually in the auric field of the person. So we have different auric fields, without getting too much into the aura or the chakra system, but they do exist because we are physical, emotional, mental and spiritual. And those bodies, we call in kind of a yogic philosophy, they'll call them like a body, just the same as your physical body. You just can't see them, but they are there. So when we scan over the kind of the emotional level of the auric field, you can feel the energy shifting in different areas or moving, and that tells me where more energy is going to be needed at the beginning of the session. And then I just do the treatment. But throughout, where I will put my hand, I will, sometimes it might be like, it might be really, really hot, or it might just be pulsing, the energy is really strong, and sometimes it might be very light. But that's only from my perception of feeling it. And then the person might tell me something different, but it's usually very similar. They'll say like, oh, it was really, really hot near my, my hips or my knees, and it was, because I could feel it as well. So you usually very much in sync, when you have the discussion at the end, say, oh, I felt this or I felt that. But then Reiki can also flip it where, I could be doing the shoulders or something, and the energy is more strongly going to the feet, because the Reiki energy knows exactly where it needs to go with the person's body. Reiki has its own intelligence, and so does the person's body. So I could be treating the head, which will still be receiving the energy, but you've got either a sore ankle or a sore knee, and the energy will rush there. So that's why we kind of have just a structure of positions that we do, regardless of what the person comes in with, unless they say, my knee's really sore, can you just do that? But I'll usually do the full treatment, but spend more time on a certain area if they've asked for that as well.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting stuff. So now, how does it work with distance Reiki when you've got 4 other people in different parts of the country? How can that work?
So with distant Reiki healing, basically the concept is what we do at second degree level. You learn what we call Reiki symbols, which enable the practitioner to be able to send Reiki distantly. I'm not going to go into what that entails, but I am going to give you the concept of distant healing. So once a practitioner has learned those skills, to be able to kind of, you almost open yourself up so you can send Reiki distantly without being in the same room as the person. And through using a specific formula of these symbols, we kind of open ourselves up. But I would speak to someone who doesn't know or understand that, I would say, well, if you think of prayer, when someone is ill or they're unwell, or there's something we want to happen in the future, we'll think, I really want this to happen, I really want this to happen. And we're using our consciousness and our intention, sending that out into the universe, into the ether, whatever you want to call it. And that intention, that energy is going to have an effect. And especially with Reiki, the level of doing distant healing, it works beyond time and space. So while it might sound a little bit weird, going back to what I said initially, where everything is energy, there is a level of all of us as human beings where we are consciousness, we are energy. So we are connected at a very deep level. I would call it, the soul level or consciousness. We're in separate bodies, and we have separate emotions, minds and thoughts, personalities, but there is a level deep within us where we are all one. Now, all the different religious traditions and spiritual traditions all say that. Not everyone might agree or believe it, but that's kind of where my view is. And I believe, especially with the healing tradition, we're tapping into a deeper level, or let's say a high dimension, where you're connecting with that. And if someone, it doesn't matter whether they're in America, whether they're in Manchester, Oldham, Trafford, Cheshire, you connect with that person, you open up, and then you want to send them that healing, they will receive it. And that's kind of how it works. So I will kind of do the bit that I need to do, and I would ask, the people who are going to receive the Reiki energy to think of a intention that they would like that Reiki energy to work for them. It can be anything. You don't need to tell me, or you don't need to tell Paul. Just think of an intention. It could be something physical, mental, emotional, even spiritual in your life, or a situation in your life. But make sure it's just for you. And when you've sort of thought of that intention, then you can just let it go. And then you can even be thinking about that now, and then when we're ready to go, we'll put the music on, and then all you need to do is just either sit down, lie down, with your eyes closed. You can put one hand on your heart and one hand on your solar plexus, like this. This way, whatever works for you. And then when Paul plays the music will be on. If we do it for 9 minutes, is that okay? Because there's a bell after 3 minutes, so there'll be like 3 bells altogether. After the third bell, then I'll kind of bring everyone round and say, right, the Reiki distant healing is finished now. And then what people can ask questions, or they can let us know what their experience is. And if anyone's got any questions now, if I've not explained it articulate enough, I'm happy to do that again.
Okay, so Karen, Mandy, Alex, if you've got any questions at this stage, feel free to ask, unmute yourself and ask Marcus. Otherwise, we can crack on with the distance healing and do some feedback or comments at the end. Yeah, sounds like you've explained it wonderfully, Marcus, as usual.
Well, that's good, because it's a lot, and I don't know where people's kind of perceptions are with this type of stuff, so I have to kind of generalize with it, and sometimes it can be like, oh, I don't get that, that's just way far out. So sometimes you have to just kind of bring it in a bit more, but I try to be as grounded as possible. I've heard other people talk about Reiki in this way, second degree and stuff, and distant healing, and they just go way off, and it's like, whoa, no, I would not want to have heard that when I was like just getting into it, or not even had a treatment. But like in a forum like this where we're going to do distant healing over Zoom, even this is a bit of a challenge for me, but it's good.
Yeah, so thank you once again. So I'm ready if you are. Everyone else ready to go for 9 minutes? So you need to be sat down or lying down, is that right, Marcus?
Yeah, you can have a sit in your chair with your hand on your heart and solar, one hand on your heart, one hand on your solar plexus. Once you've set your intention, just let it go. And then just listen to the music and just give yourself permission to fully relax as much as you want. Close your eyes if you want. You don't have to, but you will have a better experience if you do. And then just let go of all, stresses, strains, worries of the day. Just, for this 10 minutes, it's your time for you just to, have this experience.
Okay, so ready to go with the music then, Marcus?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Just let me know if you need me to turn it down.
body, feeling your feet on the floor, your back against the chair or the seat. Taking a deep breath in, moving your hands, gently bringing your awareness here back into the room, opening your eyes when you're ready, bringing your full consciousness, full awareness back into the room, fully here, fully back. Hello, Paul.
Thank you, Marcus.
You're welcome, thank you.
So I'm going to hand it out to Mandy, Karen, Alex, if you have any feedback or comments or questions on that.
I just want to say a huge thank you. I felt warmth.
Hi there, how are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. Just before the session, I tried to call my niece to bring me a cardie, but she didn't hear me. So I thought, oh, I'll be fine. And then I started to feel quite a heat. I'm not sure whether it was, I don't know, but I really went into kind of quite a deep relaxation, so much so that my head was actually starting to go a little bit, and I felt quite heat inside. Yeah, it felt absolutely lovely. Yeah.
That's
Thank
lovely.
you.
Yeah, sounds like a lovely experience. Yeah, Karen, I'm glad you really enjoyed it, and yeah, that's good to know, because I never know what's going to happen for anyone. So that's amazing, and yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed that. Yeah, thank you for taking part as well.
I've never had anything at a distance like this. I've had Reiki on a one-to-one before.
Right.
So I have to say I was a little like, can it really work at this distance? But of course, having an understanding of how it worked, I was just like, okay, I'm well open to accepting this. So
yeah. And you've nailed it on the head, and that's the thing, being open and accepting of it. And especially when we send Reiki, that's what I'll say to the client. When I set a time to send Reiki to them, I'll say, set your intention for whatever you want, and that you're open to receive the energy. And if they do that, it sounds like that's what you did. It will come. It will come in, and we don't even have to say those words that I'm accepting. It's just, sitting there, lying there, being there, open to it. The energy it is going to come. So I'm really happy you had a good experience with that. I can see with the smile on your face.
Yeah, no, that was
for you.
absolutely lovely. But I can, even before we went into the session, I can kind of feel your energy anyway. So I could feel your passion about the subject. I could really feel, and I think it was when you said, and so we'll talk about energy, or you can just call it love. And I thought, oh, that's, it was lovely.
Oh, lovely.
So yeah, thank you.
Thank you too. God bless. Yeah, that's lovely. Thank you. Really good feedback.
Thank you, Karen. So Alex or Mandy, do you want to contribute anything? No pressure if you don't want to. Okay, so we've had a comment from Mandy which says, that was beautiful. Thank you, Marcus.
Thank you, Mandy. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah, good stuff. So for me, as I shared with you, Marcus, before we went live, I've been out in the sun all day today, and I've been swimming in the sea. And I don't know if it's a combination of seawater or too much sun or sun cream in my eyes, but I was feeling either tired or that my eyes were a bit irritated. And I'm now feeling lighter.
Right.
I felt warmth where my hands were at both those positions. I felt tingling on my scalp and also my groin and the soles of my feet.
Right, okay.
Don't know what that means, but it was very pleasant, and I'm feeling, like I say, feeling lighter, more energetic, and more of a sense of openness.
Right.
Core. So yeah, thanks.
Lovely. Yeah, that's very nice. And with what you said there, it sounds like you kind of felt the energy and what we call the chakra points. One, which is the crown, and then you had your hands on kind of the heart and the solar plexus anyway. There are 7 major chakras, but so it's coming in through the crown, heart, solar plexus, and then you felt in your groin. That's where the base chakra is. We also have the sacral, which is where the navel, but you said you felt in the groin, and then also the soles of the feet. We do have smaller chakras in the feet and the hands. The ones in the feet connect us to the earth. Obviously, the ones in the hands, as the Reiki energy comes through, it comes into the heart and out through the hands. So that's interesting, the way you were kind of reflecting your experience and where you was feeling the energy in correlation to where the chakra points are. So yeah, that's good feedback. That's just really good feedback for me. It might not mean anything to you, but that's good feedback for me. That yeah, fantastic.
Lovely, great stuff. So yeah, much appreciated. Does anyone have any comments, questions, anything else they want to say to Marcus before we draw to a close?
Could you tell me whether, as it is yourself that's channeling the energy, it's coming through yourself, through the heart, through the hands, and then you're applying it to the client, if your health was suffering, or you were recovering from a cold or something like that, would that affect the energy channeling through yourself, or what effect would that have on the the journey of the energy?
Well, for me personally, if I had a cold and it was like, where you're in that horrible fever temperature, I wouldn't do the session, just because I wouldn't want to pass the cold on. Not that the Reiki energy would be diminished in any way. However, you do have a point in terms of however healthy the let's say the channel is, or the conduit. It doesn't necessarily have an impact on the energy, but the healthier the person who's bringing the energy through, it's better.
It is right.
Okay. Someone who, if someone was, really, I don't know, if they had a lot of mental health issues or physical issues and didn't really care, look after themselves. Personally, I wouldn't want to take Reiki from that kind of person, because without the Reiki energy anyway, they're not in a really good place.
Yeah, exactly.
It wouldn't really change the energy coming through them, but if they're not in a good place, then they shouldn't really be doing it. But in terms of just the cold, I would, if I was in the fever state, I wouldn't do it. But if it was just a few sniffles here or there, as long as my hands are clean and everything, it would be fine, and the energy wouldn't be diminished in any way at all.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thanks, Karen. So, any final thoughts? Any other comments? Mandy, Alex, Karen? Yeah. Okay, so...
Sorry, do you do training courses, Marcus?
Yes, I do. I teach all levels of Reiki, like first degree, second degree. We do have a foundation and masters. So yeah, I teach all the levels. And if any of you want to experience Reiki again, I do have a Facebook page, which is just Reiki Distant Healing. People just go on there, just put a request, and I set a time up with the person, and I'll send Reiki that way, and that's free. That page has been going for quite a while. And then there's also my website, marcusabraham.com, for either Reiki or other things that I do if you're interested.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Great stuff. marcusabraham.com and Reiki Distant Healing, if anyone wants to take advantage of Marcus's skills and experience. So, yeah, over to you, Marcus. Any final thoughts? Anything that we haven't covered? Anything you want to say before we end?
No, there's nothing else other than thank you for offering me to do this, and I'm really happy. Some people turned up and they've had a good experience from it. So I'd like to thank yourself and Alex, Karen, and Mandy for coming. So that's great. Thank you.
Yeah, echoed Alex, Mandy, and Karen. Thank you very much. And Marcus, huge thanks to you once again for coming into the Pathlight Thrive Hive and sharing all your wisdom and experience, knowledge and holistic skills with us all. It's been really interesting and enjoyable too. So thank you.
Thank you. All right, guys. Are we done? See you later.
We are done. Thank you very much. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Take care.